Fans have returned to NXT UK. Holland has been drafted to Smackdown. A petition has been raised to get WWE Hall of Famer, the British Bulldog, a star on the Wigan Walk of Fame. Big Damo announces his first appearance since he left the WWE. Axel Tischer will challenge Marius Al Ani for the WXW Unified World title. Francisco Akira announced for the Rev Pro UK British J Cup. Jonathan Gresham offers Chris Ridgeway a spot in the Foundation. And Will Ospreay has said he would embarrass Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, and Kenny Omega. Wow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to TNT, a Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling. I am your host, the Great British Otaku, Mr. Andrew Moore, Andy to most, and as always, I am joined by the co-host. He is the Pro Wrestling T-shirt champion of the world, Big Daddy Dan. Daniel Allen, how are we doing?
We are very good because while I have been listening to you do our introduction, I've actually just won on eBay another T-shirt.
Ooh, what did you win?
Progress Super Strong 16 from 2019.
Yeah, that was a really good thing. It was over 2 days. I remember the Kyle O'Reilly versus Chris Ridgeway match. Absolutely banging match. One of my favorite matches. So if you're out there, go check that out. Of course, that one did have a couple of people who we don't want to name, and one of them did win. So don't watch the whole thing. Just watch Chris Ridgeway versus Kyle O'Reilly.
Well, the best thing about this T-shirt?
What's the best thing about this one?
It was £1.63.
Ooh, nice. I take it was an auction bid then.
It was an auction bid. I'm a very happy camper.
No doubt, no doubt. We've got plenty of news from you, as you can tell from my introduction, and believe me, there's actually still more. We've got plenty of reviews for you as well, from Powered 4 TV, FNW, and of course NXT UK and ICW Fight Club. We have put together our own British independent invasion against NXT UK. And then, of course, as always, we've got the Brit Wres Roundup. To be honest, I think this probably might be the biggest Brit Wres Roundup we've done. There's so many promotions that we're going to be mentioning later. There's so much stuff that has been happening in the UK scene. It's fantastic.
Brit Wres is not dead.
It is not dead. And if you have any doubts on that, go check out, because fans return to NXT UK. Emails are sent out, people are able to register. I believe it was basically free. You registered, you get your tickets, but that registration closed within about an hour.
Yeah, I tried and I failed. Unfortunately, when I got the connection through to the address to register for tickets, they'd already got those. I was sad.
I can imagine. But now that obviously fans have returned to NXT UK, we, of course, will do our best to attend some live shows, not to spoil them, never to spoil them. That's not what we do here. But we will certainly talk about it. We'll give you our opinions on things. And really, I just look forward to getting down there and watching an NXT UK. I never got to see him first time. It's brilliant that he's using the BT Studios. That's what we said.
It is indeed. And of course, while we don't want to spoil things, we do want to let you know some news that has come out of these tapings.
Yeah. A lucky fan who was in attendance snapped a few pics and did put them out onto Twitter, on the Twitter sphere, and probably Instagram and Facebook as well, and all those social media sites that I'm too old for. But Lizzie Evo was apparently there in a match which looked like against the amazing Emilia Mckenzie. It will be interesting to see her role. We have seen top independent stars come into NXT UK and unfortunately be
enhancement talents.
Yes, let's just say that. Now, fair play to these guys. Obviously, they want the bookings, they want their things. But yeah, some of the top stars like Dan Maloney, Andy Wildman, Laura Di Matteo, they are the true top stars on the NXT UK independent scene. I mean, on the British independent scene. So it's disappointing to see them go on to NXT UK and just be enhanced out.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because we're yet to see one of the enhancements really make it forward, with the possible exception of Jack Stars.
Yeah, it's just. But you never know; things may change. Obviously, they can stick around, but it's. Yeah.
Talking about sticking around, I wonder if Big Guns Joe is going to be sticking around on the independent scene.
Yes. Now, he wasn't actually photographed at the tapings themselves, but he was photographed at the WWE BT Studios Performance Center by NXT UK referee Mr. Chris Sharp. So we don't know why he was there. He may have just been there for a quick tryout, may have been there to see some friends. There's no doubt he does have friends there.
Maybe he just wanted to find some of the biggest weight machines that he could.
Yeah, I mean, he is the henchest guy out there.
Without doubt.
Indeed. But talking about another guy that is absolutely hench and British, Ridge Holland.
Ridge Holland has been drafted to SmackDown during the WWE draft, and that's quite a big step for him, going on to one of the two main brands.
Yeah, because if you actually follow his journey from NXT UK, he didn't really spend long in NXT UK. I'd probably say a 6-month spell at best. He moved on to NXT, was about to get a really big push after taking Adam Cole out, but then got injured. Since coming back, he's been part of Pete Dunne's little group alongside Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. So off to the big time, off to the main show, off to SmackDown.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with him on his own, and whether they change his gimmick a little bit. I'm really excited to see what happens for him, and I really think he's got huge potential.
I think the Peaky Blinder type of gimmick, the old hat and Billy Club, I think keeping that, will just suit him quite well. According to reports, he's highly favored. They do see him as definitely a future star. Could he be the first Englishman to raise a Universal Championship, a top WWE title? We've had Intercontinental Champion. We've had a US champion, European champion.
Who we'll talk about in just a moment.
But we've never had a world champion.
We have not yet, no. Great Britain has had one.
Yes, we've had Scottish and Irish, but yeah. So come on, Ridge, do it for England.
Now, a petition has been started for the WWE Hall of Fame of the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, to get a star on the Wigan Walk of Fame. This petition is currently halfway through and is being supported by the family of the British Bulldog.
Yeah, so this just popped up on my Twitter feed the other day, retweeted out by his daughter, Georgia, yeah, I believe. So of course she backed it, and the petition is on our Facebook right now. You can go check that out at TNT Pod. It's also on our Twitter profile somewhere, again, at TNT Pod. It doesn't say who the petition was actually started by. It's just a group, apparently. I'm just going to see if I can get... so you can get the petition at www.change.org/P/Wigan-Council-WWE-Hall of Famer and so forth. But I'm sure if you just put in Davey Boy petition into your Google feed,
It will come up.
It'll come up surely, and definitely something that should be supported. And what he did for people like us, when we sat down and we watched wrestling back in when we were kids, British Bulldog, he represented the UK, he represented British wrestling, and he gave us someone to root for, really, in a way. Not that we didn't root for, obviously, American wrestlers, but you did kind of root for Bulldog just that little bit more.
Oh, yes, definitely. He deserves it.
So he, despite obviously leaving the British scene and going off to America, he did keep the British scene alive in a way, because he gave children something to aspire for.
Yeah.
And for that alone, I think he definitely does need to have that Hall of Fame and that Walk of Fame in Wigan.
Yeah.
There we go. The Yorkshire lad's doing us proud, because obviously he was a Leeds boy, and Ridge Holland is I think he's Wigan. I think so. It's that Yorkshire area anyway. Talking about another former WWE star, Big Damo, he's announced his first appearance for WWE.
Since WWE.
Since leaving WWE, of course, Big Damo, formerly Killian Dane of the Sanity. Yeah, alongside Alexander Wolf, now Axel Tischer, and of course Eric Young, and Nikki Cross, of course, his lovely wife. And so I'm going to read the story, and then we'll get into the black sheep, and then we'll say good luck to Big Damo, because I think that it has to be done. So Big Damo has announced his first ring appearance since the WWE, as he returns home to OTT in Ireland. He's going to be at the Dublin show on the 30th of October at the KFR Centre, and in Belfast on October the 31st at the Europa. The show will also feature the likes of Will Ospreay, Session Moff Martina, Adam Maxted, LJ Cleary, Kings of the North, Mark Haskins, and controversially, Scotty Davis. Now let's get into the black sheep. We decided we particularly weren't going to promote OTT because of the way they responded to fan questions. We felt they were being very dismissive. They wouldn't answer questions at times.
Not our questions, questions that were being given to them by fans and members of the public.
And this was in regards to the policies that they released regarding safeguarding, one of which did say that they would use people who were named if they believe, there was no police charge and so forth. I think there was a couple of other reasons, and just like they said they would assess everybody who was, of course, mentioned during speaking out. Of course, they didn't really as I say, they didn't handle this well. They reacted poorly in a way to fans. And of course, at first it was okay. I was like, okay, we've made a mistake. Maybe we chose you too quickly, of course. But now Scotty Davis has also returned to OTT. Now, Scotty Davis was called out during speaking out for an incident during a relationship he had when he was 15 or 17 years of age, between that. Of course, he is now a 22-year-old young man. He has grown up a little bit. But again, the issue being is they've not responded to any questions regarding bringing him back, because this was part of their policy. They wouldn't, which is why, again, as I say, we decided we weren't.
I believe at the time we decided that we weren't going to, and we were going to review it. This is something that we discussed off air. We were going to review it after 12 months and see how they did. But unfortunately, they've just stuck their heels in, and we feel that they haven't necessarily done what we think. And hell, we're not going to make any massive difference to them, but we want to make the difference that we feel people should be making. So that's why we've chosen not to really make any comments about them. But we felt that the Big Damo news was a big news story for Big Damo, and we wanted to share it with you guys now. So
yes,
that's that one there.
And it is a bit of a shame because you look at that lineup.
Yeah.
Not to promote OTE, but look at that lineup. That's just amazing. Ospreay, Max Dead, Cleary, Kingston of Haskins.
Yeah.
And this is something we will keep an eye on too. I wish they had been more open with fans. I wish they had discussed the reasons why they allowed Scotty Davis. We possibly have our own opinions on it, but that's not for us to share. But Big Damo has also been announced for ICW. Fear and Loathing in November, on 21st of November. Fear and Loathing. He has accepted the open challenge of Andy Wildman.
Yeah, that is going to be a special match. That is. Both of them have changed their bodies so much since the last time they wrestled. I can't wait to see it. Yeah,
it's just going to be a classic big beefy men slapping meat match.
And they'll be able to go for a long time as well. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, conditioning off the roof, both of them.
Yeah.
Another former WWE star.
Axel Tischer. He is going to challenge Marius Al Ani on the 23rd of October at True Colours for WXW. And Cara Noir has also been announced for WXW for their 21st anniversary show on the 18th of December. I bet you're particularly looking forward to that show.
Yeah, I mean, 21st anniversary, amazing. Well done, WXW. They have just been a phenomenal promotion. If you look at all the incredible talent that's been through WXW, the talent that they brought in internationally, and then of course the guys like Walter, Ilya Dragunov, Marcel Bartel, Fabian Aichner, they all traveled through that route. And Marius Al Ani, in my opinion, currently is definitely one of the best independent wrestlers out there. His match with Axel Tischer, formerly Alexander Wolf, is going to be a great match. Of course, Tischer did win the Catch Grand Prix at Brits Turnier, which granted him this match. Can't wait for that to be on WWE Network. I'm desperate to watch this. Not just for Alexander Wolf, but the whole thing. And of course, Francesco Akira was also part of that tournament, and he is now going to be part of the British J-Cup. He is the fourth competitor announced after he defeated Robbie X on his debut last week.
And I get to watch it.
You do get to watch it. It's going to be fantastic. I'm seriously jealous. But yeah, fantastic to see Francesco Akira just doing so much in Europe right now and so much in the UK. He's a born star. I saw a clip from Blitz Turnier, the Fatal 4-Way, where he literally walks across Tischer and then another person, and then jumps off and Hurricane Rana's the third opponent. I think it was Tristan Archer. And he's literally just from the corner going bounce, like you see in the movies. And he is truly just an amazing guy. And I'd say the fourth competitor, he beat Robbie X. And Robbie X was already announced for the tournament. So Rev Pro Andy Corman said they had no choice but to enter him into the British J Cup. I think it was pretty obvious he was going to be part of the British J Cup.
Yeah.
Of course, he'll be there with Robbie X, Connor Mills, and Canadian superstars, People Bailey. Of course, Francesco Akira really made his name out in Japan. Another guy really making his name out in Japan right now is Chris Brooks.
Indeed, and he's going to be hosting an all-English DDT show alongside his best friend Konosuke Takashita.
Yes, Konosuke Takashita.
Yeah, got it right.
I have no idea what this is going to be. It could be like a roundup show. Apparently, it's called "Are You My Best Friend?" It sounds like Chris Brooks. Of course, he's just doing such great work out in DDT. He's doing English commentary for Tokyo Joshi Pro. He's going to be part of the DDT Grand Prix, which will be following along all the way. And I'm assuming it's going to be quite a comedic show. And congratulations to Drew Parker, who once again defended his CGW ultra-violent deathmatch championship in another deathmatch out in Japan. So just, congratulations to him. Another guy out in Japan right now, Zac Sabre Junior. I forgot to write this one in, but of course he is now 5-2 in the G1 Climax. He defeated Takahashi, the Tokyo Pimp, member of the Bullet Club. It was the win I was expecting him to pick up. His loss came to Kenta, which is one of the matches I thought, well, if he's going to drop a point, that's where he'll drop a point. So, yes, he dropped the point there to Kenta in a fantastic match. Kenta just beat the crap out of him with kicks and strikes. And, of course, Zac Sabre Jr. tried to stretch him out. But a beautiful GTS put Zac Sabre down for the count. 1, 2, 3. He remains on 10 points. I haven't looked at the league table to tell you the rest of it, but he is still doing well. Oh, and Tesco apparently want to sponsor him. Because, his Kimura leg scissors Kimura, I guess. He called it the Tesco Extra Value Meal. And now Tesco want to sponsor him. But on to another man that spent time out in Japan. Chris Ridgeway, of course, was part of Noah. He was at Wrestle Carnival last night, and well, he's been asked to join Jonathan Gresham's The Foundation and the ROH Pure Division. I'm so glad I wasn't there last night. I really wish I was there last night.
So do I. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend this time, and I think I may have boobed because having seen everybody's comments coming out of this, it looks like it was a bit of a special one.
Yeah, I every tweet I've seen about the Wrestle Carnival ROH Pure show has been extremely positive. Chris Ridgeway faced off with Jonathan Gresham in the main event in an ROH Pure Rules match. I don't know the result of it. But after the hard-fought match, Jonathan Gresham did offer Chris Ridgeway a position in his foundation stable and a spot in the ROH Pure Division. And Chris Ridgeway deserves. I mean, we said it for a long time, when we said, could he go to WWE? Could he go to AEW? I always secretly said, selfishly, I'd rather him go to ROH to work in that Pure Division because he would suit it so well. And to see him over there to possibly go over there. I don't know if he was actually offered an official contract by ROH or not. I do know that Jonathan Gresham obviously was just a big fan. He already had it planned, and what a fantastic opportunity for Chris Ridgeway. Of course, the ROH Pure Division, loads of different rules, true rules to wrestling. I do love the ROH. That's the only American show that I watch is the ROH show at the moment. And Foundation, of course, is one of the top stables. They are there because they want to bring honor back to ROH through pure wrestling. And they have been doing quite a good job with it. The faction is made up of Jay Lethal, Rhett Titus, Tracy Williams, and recently new ROH Pure Champion Josh Woods also joined the faction. So good luck to all involved. I think it's going to be fantastic. What do you reckon?
I reckon that Chris Ridgeway is one of the best wrestlers in the world and probably the best technical wrestler in the world. Therefore, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is with that one and argue with anybody. So, yes, I think that's definitely the right place for him.
Yeah, I don't think you can deny. I know we sometimes come off a bit fanboy when it goes, well, especially probably myself, when it comes to Chris Ridgeway. He is... you can tell he has legitimate background. He strikes purposefully. His, he doesn't waver. I like the fact that he works a hard, stiff style, very much like the Walters and Ilya Dragunovs. That just adds an extra layer of excitement to his matches. But his transitions, everything that he does is so technically brilliant. And yeah, I think you're right. It would be hard to argue that Chris Ridgeway is not one of the best technical wrestlers, if not the best technical wrestler on the planet. And yeah, we will both argue that to the death. There's a guy who thinks he's the best wrestler on the planet.
I'm amazed that he hasn't called Chris Ridgeway out yet, because he's called everybody else out, and we're talking about Will Ospreay.
Yeah, he once again in a recent podcast, I can't remember. Let's see who the actual podcast was with. No, wrong one. There we go, Will Ospreay. So he has also said that he will embarrass CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Kenny Omega. This was...
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Let's say... I would still love that match with CM Punk. He's the one that called me out. He said, I want to wrestle Will Ospreay. So with that, Bryan Danielson, he said, I want to wrestle Will Ospreay. And I get it. Kenny Omega wants to wrestle Will Ospreay. Take a ticket. And I'll get to you guys. They called me out. Sammy Guevara, he's another one. He's the ones that call me out. There's a list that just goes on and on. They call me out. And there's a reason why, because when Big Match Billy is in town, their stock goes up. Everyone.
I'm sorry, who?
Big Match Billy.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he can sometimes get a little bit corny and into his things. And of course, I saw a lot of people, a lot of Twitter again, a lot of back and forth between different people, different factions, and it just gets a bit silly sometimes. Some people believe that, literally seem to think that, this is just, don't seem to understand that he's just playing his heel character. All of this is just playing his heel character. And, well, the actual matter of the fact is he is one of the best wrestlers on the world. Everybody should want to have a match against him. I looked at good old Meltzer ratings to find out, because I saw, so Kenny Omega, 38 years old, has 18 5-star matches or above, with the highest rating of 7 stars. Will Ospreay is 28 years old, 10 years younger. He already has 16 5-star matches and above. And his highest score was a 6-star match against Shingo Takagi. So, even on Meltzer's rating, the AEW fans, they love Dave Meltzer. And but even Dave Meltzer would tell you, or the AEW fans out there, Will Ospreay is the best wrestler right now. And right now he is probably better than anyone. I saw Don Callis. He talked about that Will Ospreay can't cut a promo, and I'm thinking to myself, one, obviously you're not watching what we've been watching recently, because Will Ospreay's been delivering some absolute cracking promos. And two, he manages Kenny Omega, who can't deliver promos to save his life, and needs Don Callis to actually deliver a promo. So it's not exactly the right way to attack Will Ospreay in response. But, you know, really, we want to see these matches. Of course we do.
We definitely do. And I think we probably will do sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and we'll get all three.
Yeah. First one will be when they finally do a UK show.
Yeah. His protege,
Callum Newman,
mm.
has been announced for Rings of Europe, who are a promotion in Europe.
I believe Austria.
I believe it is Austria, yeah. And he is going to be taking part in Wrestle Clash 23 on the 5th and 6th of November. He'll be there with fellow British wrestler Nightshade, as well as, I'm going to butcher this, Peter Tiani. Tiani.
I reckon Tiani, yeah.
Ozzy Spencer, Jessica Love, Ossie Gillis,
Yes.
Johnny Handsome, Joe Bravo, Anastasia Bardot, Ricky Sky, Ragnar the Barbarian, love that name,
Yeah.
and Mila Schmidt.
I saw Ragnar the Barbarian. I was like, yeah, I'm a big fan of Ragnar the Barbarian. I've never seen him. I don't know how he is. Sorry, I did see the picture of him. He's got his face painted out. I'm just thinking, yeah, I love Ragnar the Barbarian. You know who doesn't get enough love? The Barbarian.
That's probably because Chris Jericho absolutely took him apart in his biography as being a whingy person.
Really? I didn't know that. I loved the Barbarian back when I was a kid. Even though he was the heel and he was part of the Heenan faction, but he had just that awesome look when he came out of Powers of Pain, and he had the real Barbarian look. Didn't he form a team with Ming and it was Haku, of course, in WCW?
He did indeed. The Samoa SWAT team.
Yeah, but fantastic, I think, wrestler. And as I say, doesn't get mentioned enough. Should. Anyway, Barbarians are cool.
Right. So that is the end of our wrestling news.
Yeah,
now we move on to wrestling reviews.
Yeah, I've got a few quick ones to get through. I'll start with FNW, which was Bank on It. You went to the first FNW show, didn't you?
I did, and it was absolutely brilliant. And they've got another one on this week, which I am giving serious contemplation to going along to.
Well, we've got the preview for that in a little bit while when we do the Brit Wres Roundup, and you may be tipped over the edge for that one because it does look fucking awesome. Sorry, it does look awesome. I didn't say that. Anyway, Joe Lando defeated Caddy Gray. The Young Guns defeated Kieran Lacey and Mark True. They're not the teens with attitude here, so they're not the Power Rangers on FNW. Giselle Shaw defeated Clementine. Callum Newman defeated Danny Black. Laura DiMatteo defeated Sky Smithson. The Henchmen, Jim Diehard and Bent on Destruction, defeated The Rebellion, Taylor James and Chuck Torreno. And in the main event, Chris Ridgeway retained his FNW championship by defeating Warren Banks. So let's go quick. Callie Gray has an awesome look. Something he looks a bit different. He doesn't. He wrestles a bit different to a lot of other guys. Bright future in that young man. Joe Lando is phenomenal.
Yeah, love him. Shout
out to Joe Lando. He's been on the show. Go check out our interview with Joe Lando. Such a respectful young man. Just released a new T-shirt actually with a Gator doing the shooting star elbow that he does. Of course, the Gator harks back to his Orlando roots, where he gets his name because the Orlando, the Florida Gator. So I think that was a nice little touch. I have pointed that out to my amazing fiance because my birthday and Christmas is coming up. Kieran Lacey and Mark True, great. They tried to jump the Young Guns, but then they just got beaten up big time by the Young Guns because that's just what the Young Guns do, and it's great to watch every time. Giselle Shaw Clementine, great little match. Giselle Shaw came out on top. You know, she is the best women's wrestler in the independent UK scene. I really think
top
she
three.
Is. And we're gonna be getting into that when we talk about our NXT UK independent invasion, because we'll see who's got the main events and whatnot. But Callum Newman defeated Danny Black in the most amazing match ever. Okay, it's not really well. It's definitely a 4.5 sugars. Danny Black, Callum Newman, fantastic match. Laura Di Matteo, Sky Smithson, good match. Sky Smithson and Laura Di Matteo, they have good chemistry in the ring. They both got like that little hard style. The Henchmen and Rebellion, the Henchmen are a couple of big guys, and well, they're just big guys, really, if I'm going to be honest. The main event, Chris Ridgeway, Warren Banks. What a main event. Fantastic. Ridgeway, Banks, they wrestled on Progress recently. They had great matches there. They had a fantastic match here. Overall, I would give FNW Bank on it. I'll give it 4 sugars. It was a good show. Yeah, really. I think it was because I remember I watched the show later, the first show a little bit later, and I would actually possibly say the Bank on it might have been a little bit better.
Can I just jump in there and say get well soon to Warren Banks, who is down with this awful cold flu that's been going around and has had to miss a few of his shows. So big get well soon to Warren Banks while we're talking about him.
Yes, even kaijus need their rest. Sometimes they rest for centuries before rising again to wreak havoc in Japan. So, get well soon, Warren Banks. But as I say, great show. I'm gonna give it 4 sugars and my tea. There was plenty to watch on Powered 4 TV, which I was very grateful for because I was expecting RevPro UK and British Wrestling Revolution to release a couple of shows that they had just the other week, and they didn't, and I'm disappointed. But luckily for us, Powered 4 TV had some fantastic stuff on them.
They did indeed, and Powered 4 TV always have a lot of good stuff on them.
Yeah, plenty. There's so many different promotions that you can. I think there are over 30 promotions that you can go check out on Powered 4 TV from UK, and of course there's a few international shows on there as well. So I watched the LWF Summersmash. So the LWF are the Lancashire Wrestling Federation. They have a school down there, so they train a lot of the young guys. Helena Razor defeated Katie Hawkins. Chris Stone and Dave Getsy defeated Conrad Blaze and Lex Vinnick. Nick Cutler defeated Keenan Krishna. Lil Tom Rock defeated Jack Roberts. And by the way, that's Lil, as in Lil, Ton, spelled TON, and then 2 pound signs, and then Rock, RCK. Yes, young people. Defeated Jack Roberts. Bob Costin, Kelly Van Ness, and Nathan Gunn defeated El Helio Del Gorgon, John McKinney, Melanie Price. And then in the main event, Carl Cinch defeated Reynaldo. Family, fun show. Want to really point out Dave Getsky, who looks like he has a lot of potential. Nick Cutler, again, somebody who looks to have a lot of potential, and very much the same Keenan, who we've seen actually on Progress recently against Chris Ridgeway, trained by Chris Ridgeway. And again, definitely see something in those guys. Helena Razor as well, and as Melanie Price and Kelly Van Ness also. Some promising young talents coming out of that Lancashire Wrestling Federation. I'm not going to give it this, it was, if I'm going to be honest, I'll give about 2.5. I'd say it's just a nice average good show. Very family friendly. Kids were really into it. You could hear the kids throughout the show.
You've got to remember, when we do these, the same as when I go to UBW or down to Rumble Wrestling, you got to give them their sugars because they're a different style of promotion. Not the same style of promotion as a TNT or an FNW.
Yeah, I definitely see that. As I say, it was very much, even for that, it was just good for me. And so if I'm going to take away my own personal part to it, I'd say you could probably give about 3 sugars. So yeah, let's round it up. We'll give it three. I'll give it 3 sugars. As I say, the kids, especially, as I say, you can hear them throughout the show. You know, cheering for the good guys. And as I say, there's some really talented young guys down there, particularly Davey Getsky, Keenan, and Nick Cutler. So keep an eye out for them. I'm sure, going to see them around the UK in the next year or two. Next up was TNT Ignition, All Eyes on Us. It started off with Scott Obermann versus MVK Valcabius. I can't help myself. I just have to. It's just there. Valcabius. So yeah, Scott Valcabius was absolutely brilliant in this match. He kind of battered Scott Obermann for a lot of this match, and Obermann had to use his power up, level up briefcase that gives him a #1 title shot when he wants it, because everybody wants to be the WWE. So he had to use that to actually win the match. And then after the match, well, MVK Valcabius gave him about 4 Valcabius drivers into the mat afterwards. Gia Adams defeated Lucy Sky. The new Sick Boys, Screwface Ahmed and Rory Coyle defeated Crash Boat, Jack Bandicoot, and Jake Silver. Shout out to the Crash Boat boys. Jack Bandicoot is phenomenal. Some of the creative stuff that I saw in this match and in some of his other matches, Bandicoot is absolutely phenomenal. So is Jake. Great little high flyer, great little springboards. Both of these guys are going to be big, but obviously the new Sick Boys, Screwface Ahmed and Rory Coyle, just they pick up. They are big, yes, and they are sick, and they did pick up the win. Can't remember if they had to use because he typically carries the VCR player. I can't remember. Next up, Shreddy and Synergy defeated Brian Aidenson and Simon Miller. It was supposed to be Brian Aidenson, Simon Miller, and Big Guns Joe, but Synergy, Troy Ryan, and Anderson Daniels had taken them out before the match, and Shreddy picked up the win here. It was a good match. You can see maybe it was fine. Synergy, they are 2 big boys. I believe one of them's a power lifter as well, competing professionally in powerlifting. I think it's Troy Ryan who does that, and they're both former actual UK American football players. If I was to say anything to the young lads, and if they are listening, it would be go to a proper, true amateur freestyle wrestling classes, because they could be Steinerish if they went and really learned true freestyle wrestling. If they added that to their game, there is no limit to what those 2 could achieve. Obviously, they wherever they are training, I think they're training at Future Shock, which is absolutely fine. Great school, of course. But yeah, just go learn true amateur freestyle wrestling. And I think the world is the limit if those guys can get something like that behind them. Visage defeated Chase Alexander by DQ after Chase Alexander used the chair. Good match. Cameron Solis defeated Sonna Durson for the Ignition Championship. Absolutely fantastic match. But after the match, Scott Obermann cashed in his briefcase and defeated Cameron Solis for the championship. So Scott Obermann is currently the TNT Ignition champion. There is also, if you actually check it out on Powered 4 TV, there's a Scott Obermann, Cameron Solis Wrestle Island trilogy. Both of these guys, again, amazing. World's the limit. They're going to be big stars. And this is a great way to get to know them and get to know this heated rivalry that has spanned from Wrestle Island onto several different promotions, including, of course, recently TNT Ignition.
Yeah. just had an invitation to go and stay up in Morecambe, so I might get a chance to see these guys live at some point.
Oh, that would be nice. Morecambe's, you could go to Odyssey Pro Wrestling, OPW.
Yes.
Afterwards, I checked out TNT Extreme Thrill Kill, which came up unexpectedly. I wasn't expecting this one to come up yet, but it did, and I'm glad it did. It was a fantastic show. Alexis Falcon defeated Kyra Chimera with an armbar, which is new. And I'm going to harp back to what I said recently about lots of people seeming to just add submissions to the game. I think the Falcon Fury DDT suits her much better. I think she should stick to using the Falcon Fury DDT. I'm not sure the armbar
It's necessary.
Is necessary, I think, yeah. The She-Wolves then defeated Lana Austin and Rio, meaning the She-Wolves didn't have to break out. The She-Wolves, of course, Casey Owen and Molly Spartan. You watched the deathmatch, didn't you?
I did watch the death match, and I enjoyed the death match. I watched Session Goth Martina versus Clint Margera. Lots of shenanigans, lots of random weapons, but they didn't shy away from the true deathmatch style. Just because it's not normally what Session Goth does, there was a plate of glass that was used. There was light tubes. There was a Lego glove. But in all seriousness, it was a proper full-on death match, which was won by Margera. And afterwards, there was an interview with Session Goth where she said, that's it for her in death matches. She's done. She will not be doing any more of them.
My curiosity almost got me into watching it, but I saw the entrance and her coming down with the light tubes, and I saw all the crap in the ring, and I just went, I can't watch this.
I did also watch one other match on this card.
Chris Ridgeway and Dan Maloney, and
hell yeah,
they beat the crap out of each other. I still think they probably could have taken it up one more gear.
I agree.
Think they were playing to the story of obviously Nathan Cruz causing a distraction via video.
Yeah.
So they held back a little bit, but of course, two of the top UK stars right now, and it was fantastic. The new Sick Boys then defeated the Kings of the North to become the tag team champions because of a low blow and a VCR to the head. The Kings of the North have finally been dethroned as the TNT Extreme Tag Team Champions, which it was a great match. Afterwards, the new Sick Boys said that they would take on all comers at any time, and they would do it 24/7 style. At which point, the Kings of the North then beat the crap out of them with chairs, and then the She-Wolves came out and pinned the new Sick Boys. So the She-Wolves, Casey Owens and Molly Spartan, are now the TNT Extreme Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Right on.
Wow. I
mean,
yes, and I do believe they are a credible threat to any tag team. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're a credible threat, you deserve to have the belts.
The fans loved it. They went wild for it. They went absolutely crazy. The She-Wolves, even despite the fact that they've been heels throughout most of their tenure at TNT Extreme, they've become one of those heel teams that just became loved. They were supported in their earlier match against Lana Austin and Riho. To think if they had lost that match, they would have had to split up because they won that match and they've gone out there. They've taken advantage of what the Kings of the North have done, and they picked up the wins. Fantastic. Well deserved. TNT Ignition, I will give that 3.5 sugars. Thrill Kill, 3 3/4 sugars.
You Meltzer, yeah.
Me Meltzer in it, yeah. It was better, but it wasn't quite 4, so I'm gonna have I have to give it three and a quarter, 3 3/4. Anyway, tell us about ICW, Dan. I've been talking for so long.
ICW started off with Callum Junior versus Andy Wild. This was an absolute beatdown by Andy Wild. Callum Junior got a couple of spots in, but this was all about Wild showing his strength, and he absolutely battered him. Ended when Talon went for a Hurricane Rana, but it was turned into a power bomb and a dab bomb. 1, 2, 3. But it did end the same way it began, with a handshake, which was nice. Martin McAllister then took on Shame on A. This was going really well, and then all of a sudden, out came the manifesto and absolutely battered Shame on A, making demands to ICW that they want to have their own style of rules, that they want to have this match, that match, and the other match. Fans were not happy and not impressed with them. Molly Sparta then took on Gia Adams. This was in the Women's Championship tournament. This was meant to be showing the first time that Molly Spartan's really gone against someone that can challenge her power-wise, and that's probably since Dewdrop. Yeah, Piper Niven was there. Basically, it was a big power match all the way through. Great exchanges, and Molly picked up the win with a sit-out powerbomb.
Impressive.
It was a big old hit. The ring really did rock. Theodorus then took on Saqib Ali, and this is the first Saqib Ali match I've been able to sit through and not think, God, that was awful.
I'm not a fan of Saqib Ali and the whole boys thing, but Theodorus, on the other hand, is a guy right now I can get into.
Yeah, well, this match was going very well. I was enjoying Saqib Ali in this, and then all of a sudden, out came Sweeney. Now, this is because last week, Theodorus low-blowed Sweeney in the backstage area. Well, between the legs, obviously, not the backstage area. Sorry. And Sweeney came out, and Saqib managed to hit the Sac Magique while the distraction was going on for the 1, 2, 3. And then Sweeney flattened Saqib Ali as well.
No, they had Theodorus lose.
They did. It was his first loss. And then
to Saqib Ali, of all people.
And then he low-blowed Theodorus. Theodorus then low-blowed Sweeney again. So this is going to lead on to an interesting match. I'm sure we shall see what happens.
Yeah, because Sweeney's a big boy, but Doris is a great wrestler.
Yes. We then had our final match on the card, which was the first of the 4 ways to crown a new ICW World Heavyweight Champion. It was DCT versus Jason Reed versus Kez Evans versus BT Gunn. Now, something major happened in this. Well, I'm not going to call him a fan because he was a knob. But Jason Reed got thrown out, bumped into one of the fans that was very close, and the fan started trying to lay into Jason Reed, which caused a massive pile-up, and he got escorted out of the building. In the end, Evans and BT Gunn did a double-team move from when they were a tag team about 10 years ago to take out Jason Reed. So he was the first one of the 4 to be eliminated. There was a circle of slaps to restart this. DCT went for a pedigree, but then Thatcher's cabinet came out to interfere. Thatcher with the Margaret Thatcher book to the back of DCT. He's out and covered by BT Gunn 1, 2, 3, which leaves us with BT Gunn versus Kez Evans. Huge exchange of strikes.
So yeah, so there's a thing, because I asked you whether you thought this, whether you thought it was a what's it called?
Whether it was a shoot, whether it was real, this fan attack. I think it was.
Because Jason retweeted today, in fact, 7 hours. What an image, a powerful telling. MMA forever in the shadow of pro wrestling, and it's him walking past the guy who did it. In a few hours' time, he'll sign the contract to the biggest fight of his career. Yeah, that's what I mean. So this is Jason Reed himself tweet. So I don't know.
Because the actual owner, not the Mark Dallas, the actual owner of ICW came out and told the commentary team to leave it and not discuss it any further. And you could hear them saying, "No, we're leaving it." And if it was staged, it was staged bloody well, and I definitely believe that it was real.
Yeah.
But anyway, we then had this big exchange of strikes. Both men were going for it. There was a gunshot and a kick out. Kez went for BT's eyes, hit the Pez dispenser, and then did a backside with his feet on the ropes, 1, 2, 3. And Kez Evans is going through to the final.
Expected.
Yes.
Good.
I would give this overall. It was all right. I'll give it 3.5 sugars. ICW this week.
Not bad. Since I talked for so long and my voice is now tired, why don't you tell us about NXT UK as well?
I shall indeed. NXT was built. NXT UK was built on tournaments, and this has been a great tournament in my opinion. This match, as the final one of the show, we'll discuss. So it started off with Ginny versus Emilia Mckenzie. I think Joseph Connors is being excellent as Ginny's valet. I think he has been absolutely fantastic in his role. This was a very 50-50 match. Satomura took out Joseph Connors, which made it even more 50-50. Ginny wins with the touch of Couture Liger kick, and then calls out Meiko Satomura. So we are going to get Ginny versus Satomura. And that is going to be a match and a half, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she's the only one there currently I would put against Meiko. I mean, there's no one right now on that NXT UK. They're all great competitors. But bar Millie McKenzie, actually, sorry, no one screams out to me as I'm going to defeat Meiko Satomura.
Which leads me to Blair Davenport.
Ooh, I forgot about her.
Yeah. Skid Scala then told Blair Davenport that she'll get what she deserves. And she said she'll get what she wants.
Yes. Local Stevie Turner demanded a match against her for some stupid reason.
Yes, because she wants to lose. A-Kid then did a little video interview saying he'll win the championship. Mandrews versus Sam Grabwell. This was a speed versus power match. Mandrews very nearly won with a Stundog Millionaire out of nowhere. This led to one of the outsides and one of the most beautiful moonsaults ever. How good is Mandrews' moonsault that he does off the top rope to the outside? It's like he floats. He's in the air for so long. Anyway, much to my shock, Sam Grabwell wins. He hit the fireman carry slam. He then stood in front of the crew and the camera. He was a skater boy. I said, "See you later, Yogurt."
Mm-hmm.
Love him. Absolutely love Sam Grabwell.
National
Glad
treasure.
to see him get a win. We then had a little backstage thing that really threw me. Flash Morgan Webster happy slapping Shah Samuels.
Yeah, well, if you remember, Gallus and Wolfgang was going around slapping people. So then Flash slapped Wolfgang and then got beaten the crap out of. So now we slashed Shah Samuels and hopefully he'll get beaten the crap out of again.
Yeah, I don't see how he can be seen as sort of like a face when he's doing such stupid things. We then had a video of Dragunov saying that he'll win the championship, which he probably will. We then went on to the tournament final to crown a new #1 contender for Tyler Bates.
NXT UK Heritage Cup.
That one.
Championship, sort of.
Yeah. Round 1 was a feeling out process, focusing on Wolfgang's shoulder. I like the fact that Shah Samuels, who was in Noam Dar's corner, gave him a hip flask for his drink at halftime.
I am loving Shah Samuels on NXT UK.
Yeah, so am I. I really didn't like him on the Independent, so fair play to him. Round 2, Devlin came out and caused a distraction, which led to a roll up by Dar, 1, 2, 3, and Dar is winning 1-0. Round 3, the bell rings, and instantly Wolfgang hits a spear. Brilliant storytelling. Absolutely what this round system is all about. 1, 2, 3, and it's 1-1. What did you think of that?
I loved it. Yeah, again, as you say, no, you think he's 1-0 up, you think he's got that thing, and then bam, and it's all changed back down to 1-1, and off we go again.
Round 4 was all power moves and strikes and ended when Noam kicked out of Wolfgang's spear. Again, it was ending, when Noam went to kick Wolfgang, hit the post. Wolfgang went to spear Dar. He got out the way and he speared the walls. They both injured each other without actually touching each other. Round 5, both looking tired but were trying submissions. Wolfgang hit the spear right on the bell, so didn't get the pin. Wolfgang then hit in round 6 by 2 Nova Rollers, which then led to the 1, 2, 3. Dar wins, and Dar is our new #1 contender. And who called that?
You did, and you get ding, 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 like 5 points.
Woo! God knows I need them.
Honestly, that brings it to 1915. I'll have to check the scores.
Sounds about right.
So I've still got that lead. We'll have to do some match picking on some of these this progress card that we're going to talk about afterwards. I really enjoyed NXT UK. Great, a decent show. The Noam Dar Wolfgang match was not as good as A-Kid versus Trent Seven. I thought that was an incredible. It was still a good match, but it lacked that drama that I felt that A-Kid and Trent Seven mustered. I'm looking forward to the Dragon of A-Kid match. I know it's a doubt. I think we all know A-Kid's not going to win, but it will still be an absolute cracker of a match.
It should be. Overall, I would give 3.5 sugars.
I would also give it 3.5 sugars. We are in agreement, folks.
Yeah. So let's have a little chat now about our British invasion of NXT UK.
Yeah, because we talked about earlier how they seem to be just bringing in the top stars of the bloody independent scene and, well, not burying them, but they're being used as enhancement talent. And it doesn't matter how big they are on the independent scene, because let's face it, Andy Wilde is main eventer a lot of the time for ICW. Dan Maloney is a main eventer out there on the independent scene. And Laura Di Matteo on the women's side, she's out there absolutely dominating the women's division in certain promotions. So we thought we'd put together an independent force that would take on the NXT UK roster. And we've culminated it. It's all come down to this one last invasion match, similar to the old invasion WCW WWE. Shall I go first?
Go for it.
Okay. So to kick off the match, the show, I'm going with 2 people who are currently out injured, and we wish them all the best and hope they come back better than ever. And it's Kanji versus Aoife Valkyrie.
Ooh, nice call.
I think that would be an absolute great match.
Yeah.
I've then got Subcultures, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. And I thought that they should take on Lycos Jim.
That will be a high-flying affair.
It'll be a great little match. And then I have put together a women's 5-on-5 Survivor Series style match. On NXT UK, I have got Bea Priestley, Ginny, Stevie Turner, Emilia Mckenzie, and Danny Luna.
Mm-hmm.
And on the independent side, I've got Lizzie Evo.
Issue.
No, because that doesn't count. You really can't. You can't count that as because we know she's only been going to use as enhancement talent, so she's still on the independent scene.
It's all right. I've got her in one of my matches.
So Lizzie Evo Laura Di Matteo, Lizzie Evo, Laura Di Matteo, the She-Wolves, Molly Spartan and Casey, and Chantel Jordan.
Nice.
It was a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Jordan because I'm a big fan of her. And I think I closed out because I've done a little something here. I've decided that Noam Dar is going to go on to beat Tyler Bate for the Heritage Cup. So I went with British Strong Style versus Northwest Strong. See, if I was going to book an independent, this is how I would start it. I would have it with Northwest Strong go in after Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, forcing Pete Dunne to come back. And then that's how my whole thing would go. I would absolutely love to see a six-man tag, Northwest Strong versus British Strong Style. Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne, Chris Ridgeway, Trent Seven, Ethan Allen, Luke Jacobs. How can that not be an incredible match? I mean, even if you broke it down individually, you'd look at Chris Ridgeway versus Pete Dunne would be incredible. Chris Ridgeway versus Tyler Bate would be incredible. Luke Jacobs versus Trent Seven would be amazing. Ethan Allen versus Pete Dunne would be incredible. Yeah. Just 5-star matches all the way around between those guys, no matter how you mix it up. So 6-man tag, and that would close out the first half of the show. I would then open back up. Have I done too many matches? I might have done too many matches, so I might have to delete one. Might have to delete Subculture and Lycos Gym. So I open up with Noam Dar as the new Heritage Champion, and I figure the only man possibly capable of being the independent NXT UK Heritage Champion would be Jordan Breaks.
Oh,
interesting. Incredible technical style. I think him and Noam Dar would tear the house down. I think it would be an absolute great match, and it'd be an underappreciated banger of a match. Then I've gone for a males Survivor Series style matchup. And on the NXT UK side, I have gone with A-Kid, Nathan Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're not going to like me for this. Jordan Devlin, Rampage, and Mastiff. And they would go up against RKJ, Connor Mills, Callum Newman, and my surprise 2 entrants, Big Damo and Axel Tischer.
That's quite an interesting team.
But bringing that Tischer and Damo back together to take their vengeance on the WWE roster. Oh, come on, you got to admit that's poetic justice. In the women's championship match, there is only one woman for me who could possibly stand against Mako Satomura on the independent scene, and that is Giselle Shaw.
I can see where you're coming from. I've actually chosen someone different.
We'll see what we got. And then I've got Pretty Deadly against the Smoking Aces.
Very cool match.
That will be a great match. And then in the main event, Ilya Dragunov, of course, and it would be Cara Noir as the guy to lead the charge, the silent leader of the independent scene against Ilya Dragunov. Again, I think it's been an absolute fantastic show. So let me just quickly run down the thing, and I'll actually get a little pop-up that will go down the card. So I've deleted one match, but I'll go so Aoife Valkyrie versus Kanji. Then Noam Dar versus Jordan Breaks for the UK Heritage Cup. A women's Survivor Series match. Bea Priestley, Ginny, Stevie Turner, Emilia Mckenzie, and Danny Luna against Lizzie Evo, Chantel Jordan, the She-Wolves, and Laura Di Matteo. A male Survivor Series match. A-Kid, Nathan Fraser, Rampage Brown, Dave Mastiff and John Devlin, RKJ, Connor Mills, Newman, Big Damo, and Axel Tischer, Mako Satomura versus Giselle Shaw, Pretty Deadly versus Smokey and Aces, and Ilya Dragunov versus Cara Noir. Give us your card.
Okay, I'm going to start off with my 5-man match. I'm going to have Mastiff, Gradwell, Smith and Carter, and Saxon Huxley.
Interesting.
Maverick Mayhew, Joe Lando, Danny Black, Callum Newman, and the OJMO.
Oh, well, apart from the OJMO, I was like, yeah, the boys.
Can you imagine those against those big guys from NXT? That's going to be fun. The next match you're going to absolutely dribble over.
Okay.
We're going to have a 3-way with Charlie Dempsey versus Ian Skinner versus Chris Ridgeway with Gideon Gray.
Okay. I'll see it.
Now, next, I'm going to also assume that Noam Dar wins the Heritage Cup because I want to have Mustache Mountain versus the Billington Bulldogs.
Nice.
So for the second half, I'm going to start off with Ginny versus Lizzie Evo. That's the match I want to see. Big time. Mako Satomura will then take on Mercedes Blaze for the Women's Championship. I think Mercedes Blaze could definitely be a believable contender. Pretty Deadly, Lycos Jim.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Again, I think they've worked together. Noam Dar is defending against Daz Black.
Interesting choice, yeah. For the Heritage Cup, yeah.
Indeed, and the Scottish Connection. Dragunov versus Will Ospreay with Aussie Open in his corner.
I see. I left Will Ospreay off, but yeah, I can understand why you would put him in there. It's a great lineup. I think both have got very strong points. As I say, just quickly give us another rundown, and we'll get a little image to come up.
Okay, so mine was Mastiff, Gradwell, Smith and Carter, and Saxon Huxley versus Maverick Mayhew, Joe Lando, Danny Black, Callum Newman, and the OJMO. 3-way match with Charlie Dempsey versus Ian Skinner versus Chris Ridgeway with Gideon Gray in his corner. Mustache Mountain versus the Billington Bulldogs. Ginny versus Lizzie Evo. Mako Satomura versus Mercedes Blaze. Pretty Deadly versus Lycos Jim. Noam Dar versus Daz Black. And Ilya Dragunov versus Will Ospreay with Aussie Open in his corner.
Yeah, there's some great matches. I really like your Mustache Mountain versus the Billington Bulldogs. I think that would be an absolutely fantastic match. Pretty Deadly for Lycos Jim could be a really fun match. You can imagine that, certainly so. Will Ospreay, of course, would probably have an incredible match with Ilya Dragunov, no doubt on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, good cards. We'll see what you guys let us know what you think of our cards. Give us some feedback. Okay, we've got lots of Brit Wres roundup to do.
Yes.
And there's a lot just involving one company straight away, which is TNT Extreme Wrestling. We've talked about it quite a few times. They've got this upcoming Extreme Feels, which is a rockin' wrestling extravaganza, so wrestling and live music. There's going to be a market square. There's going to be beer. It seems like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic show. So they announced 2 more bands recently. Only the Righteous, and then Attic Theory, who seem to be the headline band as they put the biggest print on the poster. So the full lineup, music-wise, is Attic Theory, Only the Righteous, Junior, which is Mark Andrews' band, Scare Tactics, Nebulese, and Disraeli's Whip. You heard any of them?
No, and I didn't listen to Disraeli's Whip. I forgot, and I am going to listen just because of the fantastic name of the band.
I thought this would have been in your area. And you know who we need? We need Jake Silver and Ian Skinner. I bet they know who these bands are because they're young and they're hip and they're into that. So
I
I'm
will
sure
smile
they know.
and I will nod and think you're probably right, actually. Superstars that have been announced for TNT Extreme are Elijah, Big Guns Joe, and Scott Obermann, who will all be in action. And what matches have we had announced?
Some new matches announced were Elijah versus Cameron Solas. Alexis Falcon will be teaming with Gia Adams to face the Liverbirds, which is Lizzie Evo and Angel Hayes. Chris Ridgeway versus Dean Allmark in a championship qualifier match, which at the end of the year, I think there's a fatal four-way. So far, Nathan Cruz and Dan Maloney have qualified. Sona Durson versus BT Gunn. Great. Sona Durson, fantastic for him. Tom Farewell is going to be taking on LK Messinger, which again should be a great little match. So what's the full card as we know it so far, Dan?
Scotty Rourke versus Robbie X versus Nico Angelo for the Ultra X Championship match. Young Guns versus Lycus Jim. Dan Maloney versus Nathan Cruz. Clint Margera versus Tyler Devlin for the Extreme Division Championship. Elijah versus Cameron Solas. Alexis Falcon and Gia Adams versus Lizzie Evo and Angel Hayes. Chris Ridgeway versus Dean Allmark. Sona Durson versus BT Gunn. And Tom Farewell versus LK Messinger. And there will be a prize for the best fancy dress fan. And it's not a chance to wrestle in a match as it was at Wrestle Carnival. This is cold, hard cash. £100 for the best fancy dress.
Yeah, that card. Wow. I am super interested in going to this show. Not for the music, because if it's not Korean hip hop, I have no clue about music anymore.
He's not joking about this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. He really is that into Korean hip hop.
But those matchups just sound incredible. Some really, really, really good matches there.
I think the sleeper match there for me is Elijah versus Cameron Solas.
I like the Tom Farewell versus LK Messinger, Sonderson versus. There's just so many great matches, and it's great to see these young guys getting these huge opportunities right now against some of these really big names. If you think Sona Durson versus BT Gunn, Elijah versus Solas, Angel Hayes is going to be in there with Lizzie Evo and Alexis Falcon. That's going to be amazing. Young Guns versus Light Costume. You can never go wrong when you put the Light Costume against the Young Guns. That is an amazing card. I want to go to TNT Extreme. I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to the miss to find out how much hotel prices are. Because obviously Liverpool is a bit of a thing. I have to go to Darlington, then to Liverpool. But hotel prices, see what they're like. Anyway, their Ignition show, which is the next day, is a Little Shop of Horrors. And that is on the 31st of October, as I say. They've announced Big Guns Joe versus Shreddy. A lot of muscle, a lot of beef, and a lot of hench in that match. Gia Adams has got Tonga, and Brian Aidenson and Simon Miller will be facing Synergies, Troy Ryan, and Anderson Daniels. Again, great little card there. We forgot to mention that Progress Wrestling have announced their next chapter, which is on the 16th of October. Cake Horn, as it's being called. Lots of matches have been announced. Tag Team Championship match between the Smoking Aces, Charlie Sterling and Nick Riley versus the Kings of the North, Bonesaw and Damien Corvin. Oh, yes. What a match. That's going to be fantastic. Next up, you've got the Revelations of Divine Love first round match between Laura Demeter and Sky Smithson. They just had a great match on FNW. I'm sure they'll have a great match on Progress. Ethan Allen is taking on Elijah. Of course, Charles Crowley has promised that he knows how Elijah can beat Ethan Allen, so we'll see how that turns out. The six-man tag, Dan Maloney, Man Like the Reese, Jody Fleisch versus Lycos Jim and Warren Banks. The final revelations of Love first round match, which is Rio and Lana Austin, and just announced has been Sunshine Machine, TK Cooper, and Chuck Mambo against Sandy Beach and LK Mezzinger. Want to put some bets?
Go on then, why not?
Tag Team Championship, Smoking Aces or Kings of the North? I'm going for Aces.
I'm going for the Aces.
Divine Love first round. I think we probably actually already did it, but I've lost track. But Laura Di Matteo or Sky Smithson?
Sky Smithson.
Laura Di Matteo. Put it on the board, Joe. I have no idea who Joe is. Ethan Allen versus Elijah.
I'm going Elijah.
Me too. Charles Crowley obviously knows he can, so I'll have to. 6-man tag: Maloney, Doris, and Fleisch versus Lycos Jim and Warren Banks. I'm going for Lycos Jim and Banks.
Oh, me too.
Okay. Revelations of Divine Love tournament: Rio or Lana Austin. I'm going with Rio.
Lana!
There we go. And then finally, Sunshine Machine versus Sandy Beach and LK Mezzinger. The Sunshine Machine.
I'm going to go Sandy Beach and LK Mezzinger.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Tell us about SWW because they've been doing a hell of a lot recently.
They have. Southwest Wrestling have updated their brackets for their tournaments, including the heavyweight tournament, the women's open weight, and the tag team tournament. Heavyweight Championship Classic. Sheikh El Sham is in the final after he defeated Tyson Taylor in the first round, and Eddie Ryan, the English Lion, in the semi-final, who defeated JD Knight in the first round. On the other side of the brackets, Grayson Reeves defeated Simon Miller in the first round and will clash with Jim Diehard in the semi-finals after he defeated Chris Bronson. The Women's Warrior Classic, LA Taylor is in the final, defeating Aurora in the first round and Sean Shea in the semi-finals. Shea defeated Echo Reed in the first round. On the other side of the bracket, Chantel Jordan will face Dominita in the semi-finals. Dominita defeated Lucia Lee in the first round, and Jordan defeated Kat Von Cage. In the Tag Team Classic, the boys are in the final, having defeated Project Killjoy. The boys defeated CYRK in the first round, and Project Killjoy defeated The House. The Billington Bulldogs are in the semi-final, having defeated the Seven, and they will face either the Greedy Souls or Experiment in Terror. In the Openweight Classic, Chris Adams and Nico Angelo meet in the semi-finals. Adams defeated Dingo Bain, and Angelo defeated Harrison Bennett. Gilligan Gordon is in the semi-finals after defeating Country Big, and he will face Man Like DeReese or a mystery opponent. SWW have got their next show next show, Barn Burner, on the 22nd of October in Cheltenham. The announced card so far is Chantel Jordan versus Ronnie Knox, Man Like DeReese versus Chris Bronson, The Greedy Souls versus Experiment in Terror, Joey Scott versus Alano Stone, Sid Oakley versus Nico Angelo, and also announced Ballroom Blitz on the 14th of November in Strood, which will feature LA Taylor, RKJ, Flynn Burden, Charlie Sterling, Nick Riley, Jim Diehard, and Sheikh El Sham. And from the south, let's head to the north. North Wrestling. So they've announced that they have signed a deal with IWTV. So they'll be joining the likes of Wrestle Carnival and Tidal Wrestling from British Wrestling on IWTV. They're one of the biggest independent wrestling streaming services with several American promotions signed up to IWTV. North Wrestling have sold out their second show, Keep Your Distance, on the 23rd of October. So that's fantastic news. Always great to see when guys sell out. The matchup between HD Drake and Liam Slater will now be a submissions match. So the full card is Current Noir challenging Rory Coyle for the North Wrestling Championship. Martin Kirby versus Chris Ridgeway versus Robbie X versus Will Cruz in a fatal four-way to decide the next number one contender. Visage, a lip-sync battle. Gia Adams versus Tonga. HD Drake versus Liam Slater in the submissions match. Shreddy versus Gene Money. Lizzie Evo versus Rio. Should be a great night. Indeed.
This has just been cancelled, actually. So BWR Youth and Revolt tournament, which was due to take place on 22nd of October, has literally just been cancelled today. And refunds are on their way to people who have bought tickets. Skip on to the next one.
I shall indeed. Thank you. Wrestle Carnivals. Sean Custom, Lizzie Evo, and Visage have been announced for Wrestle Carnival's final show of the year, Carnival Mania, on the 14th of November. Wrestle Carnival also confirmed that Doug Williams will face Joe Hendry in a Ring of Honor's Pure Rules match, added to their already announced Francesco Akira versus Chris Ridgeway. Wrestle Carnival have been knocking it out of the park. They really have, and we're not saying that just because we've been lucky enough to go along to one of the shows and interview Gary Ward. They just really and truly have been.
Yeah, I think I want to clarify, because we both mentioned about how they literally are new and whatnot, and they challenging the big boys. We don't mean that as right now they are literally challenging the big boys. We mean it by the cards that they're actually putting together are just as good, or if not better, than some of the big promotions. We're not saying they're on equal footing with the likes of Repro UK or anyone like that. But what we're saying is their card quality, their match quality is on that level.
Thank you for explaining that. That was well done. And I'm not being facetious there. That really was very sensibly explained. Fight Nation Wrestling, who I might have to go and see on Thursday. They will crown new tag team champions at Thursday night fight night on the 14th of October as they bring an end to their tag team tournament. It will be the Young Guns versus the Billington Bulldogs. And I've been wanting to see a Young Guns match, so I think I might have to see if I can have a word with my lovely wife and see if I can get out on Thursday evening. We will also have Troubled Youth, Danny Black and Billy Hayes, who had a bye in round one, versus the Henchmen, Benton Destruction and Jim Diehard. Plus, in the main event, Chris Ridgeway defends the FNW Championship against Michael Oku. Added to the already announced Mark Drew and Kieran Lacey and Z-Force qualifying match, and the Women's Fight League match with Giselle Shaw, who's currently on 1 win, 0 losses and 0 draws, 3 points, versus Jade, and this will be her first match in the league.
Yeah, again, look at that card, brilliant. We'll just clarify, obviously, it's 2 semi-finals and then a finals in the tag team matches. I look forward to seeing Troubled Youth, Danny Black and Billy Hayes together. I've not seen them tag, so it should be interesting to see. Catch Pro Wrestling's their Enigma series kicks off tomorrow or today when this is actually released, and the first round matches are in Block A. 2-Bit will be facing Tom Farewell, and Dynamite Lee will be taking on Joe Kessler. In Block B, Joey Hayes is facing Kev Lloyd, and Scotty Rock is taking on Keenan Krishna. There are also 2 non-tournament matches, which will be Chris Ridgeway versus Ethan Allen. And then in a fatal 4-way match, Kid Lycos 2, Big Guns Joe, Chris Egan and Miles Kamen. So these are slightly smaller shows than what they normally produce. It's in a different venue, but this is all building towards Catch 4 in I think it's 3 to 4 weeks.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing because I've seen the next story.
Oh, yes, go for it. Yeah, go on. This is brilliant. I love this. This is typical.
Creation Pro Wrestling. Tickets are now on sale for their upcoming debut on the 4th of February, and you should buy tickets just based on this next match alone. They have announced Martin Kirby will face Brendan White in a hair versus hair match. I'm seriously hoping they keep their trunks on.
I'm telling you what, I'm putting the match card up for when we discuss this when I do the video with it in later, because obviously for guys out there who don't know these two guys are, we're not going to spoil it, are we? Just look at the card, and it's just typical Kirby, isn't it? It's brilliant. It's
fantastic. Well, they've also announced Elijah versus Nino Bryant, one of my favourites. So the card so far, Connor Mills versus Nico Angelo, the OJMO versus Sid Oakley, and Clementine versus Lee Hunter. So that's going to be a great lineup for Creation Pro's first show.
Yeah. So DNA Pro Wrestling, last week we went through their roster after they released the full roster, but this week we've got 4 of their matches for their Fear show on the 30th of October. Of course, Fear standing for Face Everything and Rise. And we've got Evie Madden versus Heidi Katrina, Forrest Hayes versus Tommy Kyle, Big Effin' Joe versus Warren Banks, Danny Black versus Callum Newman. And there are 2 huge matches yet to be announced. As I say, I saw Danny Black versus Callum Newman recently. Fantastic. They're going to just tear down the house once more.
Yeah. WAW have announced a massive championship match for the 23rd of October show. It's a WAW Super Show with their champion, RKJ, versus the PCW champion, Sheik El Sham.
I hope that's when they take call. That sounds absolutely brilliant. 2 amazing wrestlers as well.
Really are, and that's going to be an absolute barn burner.
Indeed. We talked about how the NXT UK registration closed within about an hour. Well, Defend Indie Wrestling, who celebrate their 10th anniversary with a double show on the 27th and the 28th of November, which is set to feature Nico Angelo, TK Cooper, Chuck Mambo, DOJMO, Nino Bryant, Josh Terry, or Josh Morrell, Danny Jones, and Jay Joshua. Tickets went on sale yesterday and sold out within an hour. Both shows.
That's amazing. Well done, Defend.
Indeed. One of great companies.
World War Wrestling, you have to say it like that, have announced their main event for the Stowmarket Slam on the 17th of October at the Mid-Suffolk Leisure Centre, as Will Cruz will take on Ash Draven. And this will be added to the Lads, Ben Jones and Alex Echo versus the Rebellion, CJ Carter versus Aaron Kirans versus Joe Wade versus Ollie Blake versus Darcy Stone versus Mike Bird. That's going to be a absolute... You're going to struggle to follow that match.
You are. Prime Wrestling Entertainment, their 3rd show, episode 3, which is on November the 13th, and I will be at. Got my hotel booked and everything, and all my trains sorted. It's going to be a fantastic night. I can relax, chill out. I don't have to try and rush to get home because the trains to Newcastle can be a bit difficult to navigate back home. So got the hotel sorted for that, and yeah, really looking forward to this. So the main event will be Tommy Zane versus Joseph Biggs versus Liam Slater versus Mickey Limerick versus HT Drake. This will be an elimination 5-way. And the winner will be crowned the PWE champion.
Sacrifice Pro Wrestling in Bedford have announced their first match for their return show, The Blip, on the 11th of November, which is a fatal 4-way with Memes versus Jade versus CJ Carter versus Alexander Roth.
There we go. You said you saw Wrestling Memes at UBW last week, didn't you?
I didn't. No, he wasn't on the show last week, but he was on the match, the show before.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah, a good bumping big man.
Indeed. UKPW. Well, their UKPW Women's Title Tournament continues at Tables, Ladders, and Scares.
Oh my!
In Faversham on Halloween. And they have announced the 2 semi-final matches: Ava White versus Kyra Chimera, and Evie Madden versus Livy Grace. Plus, in the main event will be Alexander Roth versus RJ Singh, and there will also be a 6-man ladder match.
That's going to be very, very exciting. Future Shock Wrestling. At the Future Shock Performance Centre behind closed doors, Future Shock are holding a trophy tournament. The first of their quarterfinals is available to watch now on YouTube, which has Keenan Krishna versus Oscar Byron.
I think they've actually just released a second one as well. I just saw it. I can't remember who was in it, but yeah. So cool. Go check out those on
Free Wrestling.
Shock. Yeah, you know, it's good to give these young guys opportunities like this. So I think that's a good thing. Wolfram Pro Wrestling, WPW, are finally back on the 16th of October in Wolverhampton. They've got a full match card, which is The Elliot Jordan Experience versus RC Chaos for the WPW Championship. Kieran Young versus Luke Douglas. Harley Hudson versus Lucia Lee versus Hannah Taylor. That's going to be a brilliant match. I think they're three fantastic, incredible young performers. Drill and MJ Grayson versus Cameron Solis and Carlos Zamora. And then Shauna Shea versus Mia Cortez.
Lancashire Wrestling Federation, LWF's next show is the October Overload on the 17th of October in Lancashire. And they've announced two matchups, a six-man championship frenzy with JJ Webb versus Conrad Blaze versus Nathan Blaze versus Anderson Daniels versus Lil Ton Rock, which we already discussed his interesting spellings, John McKinney, Synergy's Troy Ryan and Jack Roberts versus The Worst, Vinnick and Gorgon. So Synergy versus Vinnick and Gorgon. Slay All Day, Natalie Wilde and Melanie Price and
Tonga, yeah, six-man tag.
And Tonga versus Kelly Van Ness, Katie Hawkins and Helena Reza.
Should be a good little six-man tag. That, as LWF, I mentioned them earlier. Good little family show.
Yeah.
Discovery Wrestling are back on October the 17th in Edinburgh. And Ian Skinner delivered a great little promo that you can go check out on Twitter. They've also announced their first match, Andy Wildman versus Gene Money. Beef!
Britannia Wrestling Promotions are back in action on the 16th of October in Denbigh. Doug Williams will take on Dylan Roberts, Isaac North versus Dougie Matthews, Tyson Taylor versus James Reed, and the Fox Pack, Matt Fox and Lance Rivera versus Brian Aidenson and a mystery opponent.
No, it's
it's a six-man.
Yeah, Lance is part. Brian Ainson's part of the Fox Pack alongside Matt Fox and Lance Rivera, and they've got mystery opponents. Good old Matt Fox, Captain Wristlock.
Lovely guy.
Fantastic. Where are we? I've lost myself.
This is wrestling.
Apparently, This Is Wrestling have announced their main event for. Then there was one showing the Ormskirk Civil Hall on the 14th of November, which we Sandy Beach defending his championship against Sonny Dursin, two incredible young up-and-comers. Aurora Tevez versus Harley Hudson, again, two incredible up-and-comers. And then Synergy's Troy Ryan and Anderson Daniels are taking on the Merseyside Mercenary Squad, Scott Obermann and Dan Evans. Scott Obermann, I mentioned earlier, big fan of Bright Future.
Future Championship Wrestling. FCW are in Sutton in Ashfield on the 23rd of October. They have a championship match with Brett Myers versus Xander Zulu, and Lucia Lee will be taking on Natalie Skies.
Indeed, Reach Wrestling have announced that their Reach Heavyweight Champion, Charlie Sterling, will be defending his championship on the 5th of December.
Pro Wrestling for You, PWFY, return on the 13th of November in Newcastle with the Now That's What I Call Pro Wrestling. Excellent name for a show. Made to Last, Ryan Thorne and Leon Gray versus Synergy, Troy Ryan and Anderson Daniels has been announced. Also, Kevin Lloyd versus Troy Goose. Also in action, Jack Cunton, Sweet Prince Benjamin Harland, Drill, and Keith Meyer.
Immortal Wrestling are back on the 20th of November in Westbury. The show will feature Johnny Storm, Jody Fleisch, Lion Kid, Frankie T, plus TNT's favorite, Amber Joe, will be in a triple threat championship match against Bunny Marlowe and Nightshade. Good luck, Amber.
Speaking of Amber Joe, she'll be taking part in Charity Wrestling Promotions show. This is on the 7th of November in Southampton. The show will also feature Robbie Nitro versus Jackson Arrow in a hardcore grudge match. Cameron Anderson versus Dirty Dave Dennis versus Frankie T versus Jake Hollister versus Aaron Cruz versus Ebenezer the Geezer, and Franco Varga versus Joel Redman.
So brilliant charity promotion. Obviously, all of their money goes, of course, to charities. And another promotion that is holding a charity event is Fight Factory Wrestling, and they are hosting Body Slam to Cancer, and that's on the 30th of October in Lincoln, and that is to raise money for the St. Barnabas Hospice, as well as Sophie's Journey. And of course, we'll always support companies that are raising money for charity. But with that said, that is literally the roundup. Probably so many promotions out there. Go watch them all, go see them all. Go check out Powered 4 TV because there's so much to watch. Go check out IWTV because there's so much to watch. And go check out bodyslam.net for some excellent up-to-date wrestling news. And with that said, have you got anything more you want to add, Daniel?
Just to remind everyone to follow us on Twitter. And if you're listening on audio, watch us on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, listen to us on audio.
Exactly. And how do they follow?
They follow us at Tnt Pod. As you can see, if you are watching, on the wonderful T-shirt there being worn by our lovely Andy.
And of course, above your head, because you've got the whole background thing going over there.
I do indeed. Most things go above my head.
Indeed. With that said, we are just two grown men drinking tea, talking about grown adults, wrestling entities. Have a great day. Have a great night. And remember, folks, don't be the trolls.
Good night.